Greetings, my excellent friend.
Welcome to Heavy Metal
History.
So we are here with, do you want me to call you Chris Fox or Fox?
Doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to call me.
All right. We'll go with Fox. I like that.
All
that.
right.
So we're here with Fox from See You Next Tuesday, the singer. We're going to talk about a couple of things today, one of them being Parasite. But before we get to that, man, thank you for doing this, first off. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
And the thing we kind of like to start off with is what records got you into, like, metal, I guess. That's always, like, our little starting point. We like to hear where your influences
Right
came
on.
from.
How it all began, yes.
Like when I was a kid, I probably like stuff like Master of Puppets, Astro Creep 2000.
Oh.
Let's see. Fuck. I can swear on this thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Really
Yeah,
hard not to. Okay, because that's half the words that come out of my mouth. Let's see here. When I started getting into like hardcore and like that type of stuff, it was more like Hatebreed, like Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Tear from the Red, Poison in the Well, Jane Doe, Best of 18 Visions, a lot of the like Trust Kill stuff. Yeah, stuff like that. I suppose I used to listen to a lot of Fear Factory when I was a kid.
It's only when I was a kid, that's pretty much like almost all I played was like Fear Factory and like Slipknot. So
yeah, man. I was on the the Roadrunner Street Team for a long time when I was a kid, and I got all those CDs before they came out.
Oh, no shit.
Awesome. Yeah, I got like that the Slipknot self-titled like before, like maybe like 2 months before it came out, and it was the coolest thing of all time.
Man, yeah, back when the street team actually had perks. Now it's like, hey, this is going to cost your own money to go do all this shit, and you don't get anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to get like all sorts of like cool clothes and concert tickets and CDs. It was awesome, and I barely did anything. It was great.
So
but yeah, that's it. Really.
Was there anything out of those records? I guess like since you're a vocalist, was there anything that like you started like mimicking or like kind of inspired that at all? I don't know. Mimicking is a good word.
I don't think I ever really tried to mimic anybody like vocal wise.
like that you drew like inspiration from.
I definitely like pulled like writing inspiration from bands like Poison the Well, Dillinger Escape Plan, Glassjaw, even stuff like Radiohead. Honestly,
Yeah, it's good. We like when people have like those eclectic mixes. Like I know, obviously, like it's kind of like a metal-centric podcast we do here, but more often than not, especially with me and Matt here, we listen to like everything. So it would be kind of weird if somebody was like, I only listen to metal, nothing else.
I honestly barely listen to metal at all anymore.
Yeah,
I think I just got too old. I still listen to it though every once in a while.
So let's get into Parasite, man.
Okay.
Does it feel like 10 years? Is it kind of crazy that it's been 10 years?
I didn't even think about it until people started posting it on Facebook that it was like the 10-year anniversary of it, which I can't believe anybody else knew that either.
Yeah.
Like that anybody was paying attention to it. But yeah, like I totally didn't even register at all until I saw posts about it like the next day. So yeah, it's pretty wild to think it was that long ago because it doesn't feel like it at all. But
yeah, I feel like that too. Even just like being an outsider who listened to it pretty often, it's just like, wait a minute, I've been listening to that for how long now? And like
right.
10 years?
Yeah.
Like holy shit.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, man.
Yeah,
So-
I remember finding that record at like the tail end of high school, and it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're all getting old, man.
So when you guys, I guess if you remember, can take us through how did it come about to start writing and making the album, basically?
Well, it's kind of I wasn't involved in most of it.
Okay.
What happened was their singer before me, his name's Bear.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to leave the band for his own reasons. And this was about a month before the band was scheduled to go into the studio to record Parasite, because they had just signed with Ferret.
Yeah.
So I was in another band that played with See You Next Tuesday pretty frequently. And we had just broke up, and they asked me if I wanted to come like try out, or, you know, if I was even interested. And so I give it a shot. And after a couple practices, we decided that it was going to be like a thing. You know, I was going to be the new singer. But then that was only like a week and a half before we were supposed to leave to go record Parasite, and I had 0 lyrics. So I had to pretty much write all the lyrics for Parasite in the studio for the most part. But they already had like all the music written, except for like that Paraphilia song.
Mm-hmm.
Like we wrote that in the studio, and we wrote most of Pogonotrophy in the studio. But everything else they already had. It was all written years before Parasite was even recorded.
Yeah, because I remember they had like that EP or whatever that had quite a few of the songs off it that just ended up getting re-recorded.
Yeah, all 3 songs on the EP were on Parasite as well.
Yeah. So I guess it's hard to say, because like when everything was being written, like either in the studio or out of the studio, like were you ever like a part of it, or is it just like, hey, you write your lyrics and then come in and do your part and that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. Like Drew was the main controlling factor in writing.
Okay.
Like, he kind of did all the guitar parts, and as he was writing the guitar parts, he already had everything else planned out in his head, including like most vocal patterns.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he was like, it was crazy to work with him, because I'd never had anybody telling me like what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was like sometimes there was like a conflict of interest, and sometimes it was like, oh yeah, your idea works better. So it eventually worked out, obviously. But yeah, most of the stuff was written by Drew, and then I just kind of like with the songs that were on the EP. I wrote the lyrics to the exact vocal patterns that they had already been recorded to, since you couldn't even understand what Bear was saying anyway.
Yeah.
So I just made it match.
Oh, so you wrote completely different lyrics than what was on there originally?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep. I have a really hard time like learning other people's lyrics and like remembering them. So I just figured it was better for me to do my own thing. Plus, I mean, I had no idea. I don't think anybody knew what the fuck he was saying on the EP. Like, they didn't ever have it written down, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The only thing I really did was write the actual lyrics, and Drew handled everything else.
So how long did it take for you guys to kind of like record it? I'm sure, like, because it was like your first record, it probably wasn't very long.
Well, we went down like 2 weeks before Christmas. We went down to Virginia to record the album. I forget the name of the frickin' studio. It was Andreas from Scarlet's studio.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, which was awesome, because I fucking loved Scarlet so much. And yeah, to be like, oh, you're fucking recording our album. Cool. But yeah, we went down there 2 weeks before Christmas. We got most of the album done. We still had to do like touch stuff up here and there. But we went home for Christmas and then came back like 3 days later. And Andreas's hard drive had crashed while he was working on editing it. We lost the whole album. So we had to re-record everything again. So it would have taken about 3 weeks, but it ended up taking a little over a month. We had to go back, but it ended up turning out like way better than it originally was, because we had everything dialed in at that point with like effects and stuff like that. We were doing, and we just kind of went through it quicker, and it seemed more precise and efficient. If that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, it just turned out better in the long run, because it was like our second try at it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And especially too, like for how ridiculously short the album is, to get it dialed in like that is probably really important so that everything sounds concise and like
Oh yeah, plus
on it.
fucking Drew. Drew is so meticulous about that crap. So like, it was good for his frame of mind as well to kind of go back and do it all again. So it worked out. I know Andreas was pretty pissed because he had to refund a lot of money to the label for fucking up, but it wasn't really his fault.
Yeah, I mean that's
just,
that's
just sucked. Yeah, it sucked really bad. We were all pretty bummed. I think the day that we got back and we were supposed to record, that we found out we couldn't. We had to take like a day off. So Andreas paid for us to go to the strip club, and like bought like all our shit for the day. It was awesome.
Damn, that's a lot of money to come out of somebody's pocket for you guys who are like supposed to be recording.
Right. Yeah.
So, what? I mean, obviously, like people can read the lyrics, but from you, what is the lyrical content mean to you, and how did it come about?
Well, with the lyrics, a lot of it was written before I even joined See Next Tuesday. It was my band before See Next Tuesday was writing a full length before we broke up. So I used to have this like notebook that I just like jot ideas down or poems or, whatever came to my mind, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that thing was like filled. So I was lucky to have that going into the studio without it being like used for anything else. So I kind of just, man, as far as like lyrical content, a lot of it was just like stupid breakup shit with girls because I was like a huge bitch back then. So a lot of it was like kind of emotional type crap.
Yeah,
for that album.
I mean that makes sense. 10 years ago you were in a different place and a different person, so it's like you're kind of writing in the moment, and it, I'm sure, I guess was the lyrical content different for the next album on
Intervals.
Yeah, Intervals.
Yeah, with Intervals it was all over the place because we were trying to do this like time theme like throughout the whole album.
Yeah.
So I had to write about anything I could think of relating to time, I guess. I mean, there was some like relationship stuff, but there was stuff about the apocalypse. There was stuff about like people dying, like stuff like that, I guess.
That makes sense. Yeah. Even listening to it, like you can tell the two albums have like a completely different feel from each other.
Oh yeah, totally. Like the reason for that is because we got with Parasite. It was like I said, it mostly was all stuff that had been written years prior, and the only two songs on it that weren't were the two songs that like stuck out like a sore thumb, which were Paraphilia and Pogonotrophy. So that was already like the kind of direction that they wanted to go because Drew was listening to a lot of like Pelican and Isis and stuff like that at the time, and we kind of wanted to go like not necessarily like a Daughters route anymore. We kind of wanted to do like a mix between like real grind bands like Rotten Sound and then like spacey type stoner stuff like Isis and Pelican, shit like that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to go for more like an adult sound with Intervals to show that we weren't just like a joke band for the most part, which is what we really got lumped into being.
Yeah, and it's
were the titles for the songs, were they already chosen before you came in, or was that something afterwards?
For Parasite, yeah, they were already chosen. They're all they're just like quotes from TV shows and movies and inside jokes and shit like that.
I have to say that's one thing that's pretty unfortunate is that like I do recall around that time everybody like thought you guys were a joke band, and I was like, nah man, they're just playing grindcore. Like what's jokey about grindcore,
Yeah, the name of the band and then the names of the songs, they all fucking I mean, it doesn't help that we were always like partying and joking and having fun and taking stupid photo shoots and stuff like that. Didn't really help what we were trying to avoid, but fucking we got lumped in with a bunch of bands that none of us really liked at all.
Yeah.
Or like wanted to be like associated with. But I mean,
but
that shit happens.
it's at the same time. I mean, you have to kind of do something that like differentiates yourself between everyone else. I mean, you said before you're doing a bunch of silly photo shoots. Like, how many times have you seen like a grindcore band where everyone's looking very serious and their arms folded,
right?
And they're all in black and so we're
just trying to do stupid shit all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess if you don't mind, I mean, I'd also like to talk about intervals if we could talk about that for a little bit too. I mean, I know it'll be celebrating 10 years next year anyways. So
yeah. Okay.
I would love to hear about that record as well, since I feel like you had way more of an input on it, it seems like.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, totally. It was, I mean, I guess you got any questions about it? What do you want to know?
Man, I guess it's kind of more the same shit. Like I don't know, I guess we're like really into like how the records came about, you know, what went into recording them and stuff like that. I know it's like nerdy stuff that most people don't care about, but we're just like super interested in all that kind of like behind the scenes.
As far as how it came about because we were contracted to do more albums.
Fair enough.
But I don't know. It took a minute for us to get Drew into writing mode. For some reason, these tiny ass short songs take Drew months to write because he's so fucking meticulous about shit. So it took like pretty much from when we like got done recording Parasite till when we actually went into the studio to get most of the songs for intervals. And then we even had to write a couple songs in the studio because the album wasn't long enough. Ferret was a little bit upset that Parasite was only 18 minutes long.
I mean, what did they expect, though? You know, you're getting a grindcore band. Of course, it's going to be a short record.
Right, yeah. They were like, I don't know if we can charge the same amount of money for this album. Because I don't know. So they, like, required that we have at least 25 minutes of material for intervals, which in the end we didn't. We only had about like 21, and that is the reason why that clock is ticking at the end of that album to fill up the rest of the 25 minutes, because we had no idea what to do, so we just put the clock.
Yeah, that's pretty inventive, man. It goes with the theme too. So
yeah, exactly. And that was a huge pain in the ass to try and record a clock ticking.
How did you guys do that?
Oh my god, we had to get a clock, obviously, and Joe Senkata, he was the guy who recorded the album for us. He had to mic this clock as like high as he could turn it up, and then since the microphone was so high, you could hear everything else going on in the studio.
Oh.
So we had to press record, leave the studio, and then we had to come. You know, we came back like 10 minutes later to make sure we had enough to fuck around with, and then we came back. And you could hear the cars like passing by the studio, like on the recording. So we had to try and like edit out all this shit in order to get this fucking clock recorded. Which the amount of time we spent on the clock being recorded, we probably could have wrote another fucking song.
That's true.
It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, it was a pain in the ass.
I mean,
That's why it's there.
It makes sense. You guys put that record out pretty soon after, so like, did you guys even do like a touring cycle on Parasite? I mean,
we were on the road nonstop, after we recorded Parasite. I don't think there was ever a point where I was home for more than like a week.
Okay.
In between tours, we were just like on the road, like nonstop. We fucking toured the U.S. so many times over. We were so fucking over the U.S.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was awful. And then we started doing like foreign countries, like we did Europe before Intervals came out.
Okay.
We did like Mexico, went to like Costa Rica and Puerto Rico, and then that's right when we started promoting Intervals. So we didn't really get a lot of U.S. time promoting Intervals before it came out, so that's why it did so poorly, essentially.
You know, it's funny. Yeah. You talk about having toured the U.S. so much. I toured with the band for a while myself, and I I get that sentiment so hard because like we would just constantly be going around the US and it's like, oh, we're in this fucking place again. Oh, this place again. Like, was there anything new? Like you see the same shit over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, man, we like really played ourselves out, to be honest. I mean, it was fun. All the tours we did were cool, but like kids would stop coming to see us in particular because we were either there the month prior or the next month coming up,
Yep.
So they could see us then, or they already saw us.
I am guilty of doing that. Having seen you guys a couple times, it was like, oh, well, they're playing this show, but oh, they're going to be back on this show that's a little bit better. Which one do we go to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's pick and choose.
So, yeah, we really played ourselves out. And at that time, the market was so oversaturated with bands that there were so many fucking shows and tours going on that I feel like a lot of people like just kind of got burnt out on going to shows. And if they did go to shows, they just stood there and like didn't care. It was more like a hangout for hanging out with their friends, than like actually like going to enjoy music.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed lately myself. It seems like that whole just like constant touring thing is like calmed down a little bit. Bands don't come through as much and you don't have as many. Whereas back in like 2007 through like 10 even, like it was just like constant. You're going to see the same band 3 times in a year.
Dude,
and
yeah, it was
it's
insane.
Like, how many shows do I have to pick?
Yeah, like especially with like all the festivals and shit that were going on back then too, like during the summer.
Yeah.
It was so many fucking fests going on, all the like touring festivals,
Yeah, it's still pretty
bad. It was
bad.
just wild, man. Like we'd be playing a show, like we'd be on the same like cycle as one of those fests, like playing either the day before or day after that they would be in the same city, and like everybody would be saving their money to go to that festival instead of coming out to see our show, which is understandable. It just sucked,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It kind of ruins like what people have to pick and choose, because even now, like, you still have Summer Slaughter and fucking Warped Tour. We don't have Mayhem anymore, but that's still like 2 massive summer tours that people are going to go to one of those 2 during that time. So if you're going to be playing a show around then, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just back then it was just a lot of factors working against us after we really toured like nonstop, and then everything kind of went downhill.
Yeah, so
which is nobody's fault really. It just happened.
Was it because of like the climate and the just oversaturation that you guys just decided to like kind of go on hiatus or whatever for a little while?
Yeah, it was more like we stopped like making like decent money because of like the decline in like the shows and everything. And like we kept having like tons of shit go wrong. Like our van blew up on one tour and we had to like get a van that day and had to take a loan out to get it. That really screwed us over.
Oh, I remember that actually.
Yeah, something happened with our trailer that we didn't have the money to fix, and we had to borrow money to do that. And that like put us even further in the hole. We had a incident at the border trying to get into Canada where we screwed up at the border, and the border seized all our merchandise, and we had to buy it back at retail.
What the fuck?
Oh, jeez.
Are you kidding me?
No, it was fucking awful. So like all these things kept like compounding against us, and then on top of not making the money that we originally were, like when we first started touring, when we thought we probably should be making more, like not guarantee wise. We were making more like guarantee wise, but like as far as like merch sales and like attendance for shows was like awful. So we just, we were all to the point where we were just super bummed out. And at the time we didn't think we were going to really like break up or anything. We just like needed a break.
Yeah.
Because we were all like super fucking depressed about shit.
And especially too, man, like you guys were kind of at the forefront of the internet and social media just starting to get big. Whereas nowadays, if anybody has a van that blows up or a trailer with stuff that gets stolen, you immediately have a fucking Patreon or a donation thing go out and be like, help us get our stuff back. And it gets funded within 24 hours, You guys didn't have that luxury.
Fuck no, man. We had the label, which always helped us out if we needed it. So, Ferret was always really fucking cool to us. And then we had Drew's stepdad, or the bank, but we tried to avoid the bank as much as possible.
Yeah, because they'll rob you worse than anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. So, we had like pretty much two options that we went to, and then we just have to work to pay them back, and it was just completely fucking us over.
I have to say though, I was thinking about like the shows and tours that I've seen you guys on, and there was a good juxtaposition with what you're talking about, because I saw you on one tour that was fairly big and the crowd was like packed out, and then I saw you guys on another tour where there was like maybe 50 kids there, and it's just like, whoa, wait, what's up with this?
Right. I don't think we ever meant to be like a headlining band ever. Like we play fucking 30-second songs, like we're not a main act, which as much as I'd like to say we are, we're not. And we kept once we started doing more and more and getting more popular, we started being the headlining act for tours. And I think that is really where like the draw started to go down, which is totally understandable. But yeah, we definitely did way better when we were supporting a bigger act.
Yeah, I think that's both of the times I saw you, it was you guys were supporting, but I forget what the low attendance one was, but I know the big one, it was like you guys, Despise Icon, Winds of Plague, and I think Suicide Silence. It was huge, that show, and this was in like 2000.
Yeah, that tour was
7, 8. I don't know.
Yep, 2007.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that tour was great. That's right in the first year of us touring hard as fuck. And that after Parasite came out, that was only 4 or 5 months after Parasite came out, I think. Mm-hmm. So we were on all the fucking kick-ass tours at that time, in the opening, which was awesome.
Yeah, because then you have the rest of the night.
Yeah, exactly. We just party hard as fuck. It was great. But after, when 2008 hit, we started to be, higher up in the food chain. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think we weren't really meant to be ever, and it just happened that way.
I think one thing that people don't realize, too, and it's something we like to talk about when we have people on in bands, is, touring is fucking hard.
It sucks.
When you're living in a van with, 4 or 5 other guys, maybe getting $10 in per diem money a day, it's a nightmare. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Having to piss in fucking water bottles and
yeah, man. I mean, it's cool. I wouldn't trade any of our times, for anything. I had the blast, but so much of that time we spent on the road was just me being bored as fuck. Aimlessly wandering around some city I didn't know anything about, or just sitting in the van playing on my phone. I wasted so much time.
Yeah, I think about that too, where it's oh man, I had all these hours to do other stuff because I didn't have to worry about working a real job, and I didn't do any of it. I just fucked around and drank beers with people. And
yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, I could have got some sort of college degree or something with the amount of time I didn't do anything with. It's fucking insane.
But then again, it's one of those things. It's if you could go back knowing what you'd know, you'd probably still fuck around and drink beers. So.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I'd be fucking wasted.
So, what are you into these days, man? What do you do? I know you tattoo a little bit, and
yeah, I tattoo. I own my own shop here in Michigan. Let's see, I'm in 3 bands currently, including See You Next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, See You Next Tuesday still doing stuff when somebody offers us a ridiculous amount of money to do something. We were actually just trying to go on tour with Arsonist, Get All the Girls, but it didn't end up working out for us. So I think we're actually going to try and do a tour this fall for maybe a week.
Yeah.
Because we all have big boy jobs now. It's hard for us to get away from adult life.
Yeah.
But it's something we'd like to do, realistically. So if we can set it up with another friends band to where we can just head out for a week, I think we're going to try and do it at least fall or winter.
Yeah, I think that's smart, man. That's cool that you guys are still just doing everything at your own pace instead of worrying about the climate and record labels and all the other junk that comes with all that. It's cool that you guys still have the passion for it too, at least.
Yeah, it's a fun second job now. It's cool. But we haven't played in over a year, a show. I don't think. Just there isn't like it's pretty rare where we'll get a message and somebody will ask us to play. But we have 3 shows coming up right now for like August and September.
So what are your other 2 bands if people want to check those out? I don't know if you got like pages for them or whatever.
Yeah, totally. One is a kind of like power violence band out of Detroit. There's 3 of us in the band. It's called Dead Church.
Okay.
We have a Bandcamp page and all the fucking stupid social media shit too. I think the Bandcamp is just deadchurch.bandcamp.
Okay. Yeah, we'll find all that and link it in our stuff.
Okay. Sick. Yeah, we haven't done too much in the past year. Our drummer works on like big budget Hollywood movies, and he's been away for almost a year working on one.
Oh shit.
So he comes back either this month or next month, so we're going to start doing stuff again. And then I recently joined a group that is recording only, like no shows, nothing like that. It's more of like a kind of like an experimental type progressive metal band where we just get together and drink and record songs. It's awesome.
Fuck yeah.
We're called Bohr, B-O-H-R. We just put out an EP on Valentine's Day, and we are recording a full length right now.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that you're still out there doing stuff too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't for a while after seeing Next Tuesday, and then I got in this relationship where it kind of fucked my head up, and I got out of it. And I went to go see Graf Orlock play, and I was like, wow, I want to fucking do this again real bad. And that's when I joined Dead Church, and I've been having fun with it ever since.
Awesome, man.
No,
well,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add or let people know about, or?
Just keep an eye out on all the band pages. The new Bohr album will be out probably by the end of summer, and look out for those See You Next Tuesday shows that I can't talk about right now.
Yeah. Well, if you ever make it out to the Pacific Northwest again, I hope to see you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully we can. We'll see what happens.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate you doing this and just kind of talking about the albums. It's fucking cool. That's why we do this podcast, is to just kind of, look back on all this stuff and remind people that it's there and they should go fucking back and listen to it.
Right on. I'm glad somebody actually remembers it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks.
Yeah, no, man. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed the podcast you just heard. We're kind of recording this after we recorded the interview, just because it was we didn't want to keep them on the line to record all this mumbo jumbo. So
exactly, yeah. But yeah, we really hope that you guys really do appreciate, enjoy those interviews. Have any feedback? Where can people deliver that to?
You can email us at heavymetalhistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet us at heavymetalpod. You can Facebook us at heavymetalhistory. And you can send us dick pics at heavymetalhistory on Instagram. Just kidding.
I'll be looking at those ones. Very.
Yeah, man, we're fucking stoked. Jeremy from Broken Hope was amazing, and Fox was fucking awesome. And it's cool to hear that See You Next Tuesday is still doing stuff, and check out his other bands. We're going to put all the links to everything that they talked about in the show notes. And yeah, we hope you guys keep listening, because we got some cool shit coming up.
Yeah, can't wait, man.
All right, Matt, you want to take us out with the typical goodbye?
Until then, cheers, cunts.